All right, here we are again. I am pumped. This is the third module, and it's all about the practice because, if you have a theory without the practice, you're not going anywhere. And you need both. You need the theory and the practice. So this is all about the practice. Module 3, empower your sobriety, the power of affirmations. Affirmations are fundamental. And my name's Adam Hudson. I'm so glad you're back here. Maybe you're seeing this on YouTube, like and follow. Maybe you're seeing this, hopefully, in my sober church, a spiritual virtual place for those of us on the path of sobriety to sort of work with each other and grow spiritually. And if you're seeing this in sober church, if you're not seeing this in sober church, please join us in sober church. If you are, then you're going to have access to a few more links and tools to help you along. There's actually a PDF of this, so you can pull that up as we go along, and then you can write your affirmations out and then send them to me, and I'm happy to work with them, put my eyes on them, and help you sharpen them so that they're most effective. So this is a spiritual engineering course. Maybe you're connected with this on Facebook and my Facebook group, Spiritual Engineering, and I'm glad you're here. Wherever you're coming from, I'm glad you're here. The first module was all about the overview of what affirmations are, the spiritual relevance of having affirmations as a key touchstone of spiritual discipline, and the power of affirmations because they truly work. There's loads of research behind how powerful affirmations are, and top performers in every industry on the planet are using affirmations. So just that, I don't know. Are you a top performer? Here we are working on the path. And the second module was all about the methodology and from an integral framework, looking at affirmations from a psychology or a mental point of view or lens, looking at affirmations from a biological lens, looking at affirmations from some of your most primary relationships. And we looked at it from an integral, and there was also sort of your environment and the ways in which you can think about your environment to live an empowered life. Are you getting a healthy environment? So this was all part of the integral framework or an AQUA model, an all quadrant, all levels model developed by Ken Warper. We talked about that. It got super heady. We're not going to revisit that, but a little bit, because we're going to look and use that integral methodology to formulate affirmations, and I'm going to give you some examples in this module. Okay, so without further ado, I'm glad you're here. Let's jump in. Practicing integral affirmations. So, a couple of things about practices fundamentally. This is a spiritual discipline. Spiritual disciplines are meant to be practiced regularly. We talked about that in the first module, how people get started good, but then they think, oh my God, I think this is just, I feel like a fraud. I'm saying affirmations that don't really connect. And it's sort of like, you've got to push through those thresholds of belief and come to the end of your belief so you can invest your emotional states into the affirmation. And writing them down is one of the core fundamental ways that you can start to build affirmations. So this is a written practice, is what we're going to do now. I'm going to encourage you to write them down. And that's only the beginning, because then you begin to read them daily. Targeted, relevant, intimate affirmations can start changing the neurological pathways in your brain. Neurogenesis, neuroplasticity is a real physical aspect to our brains and our growth of our mind. And this is what affirmations change, as well as, of course, from a spiritual and religious psycho-symbolic point of view, it is a tool for manifestation. So you've got to read them until they are memorized, right? It's like scripture. It's like it's like the metaphor of like, write the scriptures on your heart and your mind, because what you think about, you will become. And lastly, you need to have a felt emotional connection. So this is all about the integration of the mind and the heart, right? And to have coherence between the mind and the heart, which is where true power comes from, when there's a coherence there. So when you read your affirmations, you're not just like passively reading them. like in your mind's eye cognitive, you're integrating your emotional states, the felt emotion of the affirmations coming true. Okay, so it's all about the practice. Let's dive in, getting into the specifics. So integral affirmations, and we talked about this in the last module, writing integral affirmations is a transformative self-authoring practice that reshapes your consciousness by thinking of the person you intend to become. It is integral, meaning it covers 3 major categories of life. And we're not covering the 4th quadrant, which in your last video, you saw there was 4 different quadrants. And we're not covering the last quadrant. We're just covering the 3 categories: your psychology, your biology, and your sociology, or your relationships. So your psychology, your mind, spirit, emotions; your biology, your physical, nutritional, even sexual, right? And your relational, family, friends, community, profession. Just about covers it all. Yes. Okay, sweet. So one other thing I want to talk about is it's called the Matthew principle, or really there's also an economist, Pareto principle, an Italian economist talked about the 80-20 rule. And now in like every self-help, like every sort of guru is like, oh, 80-20 rule. But yes, it applies because it seems to apply across the board. It is written into the fabric of our reality, the 80-20 principle. And so throughout this, I want you to think about what lever you could pull that will give you this profound shift. And so it might be your physical nutrition. It might be needing to begin an exercise routine and reminding yourself of the power of your physical body and healing. It might be healing, right? Or it might be working with negative thoughts and ending an addiction or a mental obsession or a form of codependency, right? But what lever are you going to pull that's going to give you a leverage point for radical transformation? You can use affirmations like that. And some areas of our lives, when we just pull that lever at that, like if you get in shape, it can change the entire life, right? If you heal from cancer, it's going to change your entire life, right? If you're addicted to a substance and you're struggling with substance abuse and you heal from that substance abuse, it changes your entire life. So those are the things you want to think about when you're creating affirmations. Choose a thing in your life that if you changed would produce a largest effect for transformation and fulfillment. So the map that we reviewed in module 2, here is again the integral map. Okay. We have upper left-hand quadrant, upper right-hand quadrant, and lower left-hand quadrant. Those are the quadrants we're going to be working with: mind, body, and society. And I've attached this all the way to the end of this. The more in developed map is at the end of this presentation, so you can check that out too. I've left that there for you. So we're not going to cover the ecology, which for the most part is outside or purview of control, like the culture within which you're embedded, right? You change that. But you can change the relationships that are fundamental to your well-being. So jump in it. Let's start with the psychological affirmation. So mind, spirit, emotion, your thoughts, belief systems too. Affirmations begin their work primarily on the psychological dimension of our experience. It is vital that we create intimate affirmations that meet our own specific needs. This happens all the time when I'm working with clients creating affirmations and they're just too damn vague. You're like, what? Get healthy. What? That? Okay. Let's focus on not eating Reese's peanut butter cups because you're consumed. Wait a second. Did I just out myself? Yeah. We get more specific. The more specific and the more targeted they are, the more effective. All right. So affirmations, written, memorized, and repeated daily will in time reshape our entire posture toward life. They are a manifestation tool. This is just what happens, right? There's loads of psychological research behind this, and it's the reason top performers in every industry use them, right? So psychological affirmations. Here's some examples. So this is interior individual, right? We're working in that quadrant, the upper left-hand quadrant. So here's some examples. These are a couple of affirmations almost that I've been using for the past 8 years, and have One of them, this first one, I kept my job because of this affirmation. Like I was literally on the brink of getting fired, and I just started to review it daily, and it changed the way I was thinking about my boss and my relationship to work. So I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical reality. Therefore, I will spend time each day thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. I fully accept my thoughts and feelings as opportunities for understanding, growth, and wisdom. I am grateful for all those that have come before me and supported me to become the person I am today. And I am overcoming self-pity because I know that a negative attitude toward myself, towards others, will never bring me success. Therefore, I will forever speak love over myself. That last one actually was the one that completely saved my job. And I was so grateful. Like I deserved to have the job, and I was self-sabotaging. Like, yeah. And I started having chronic negative thoughts about my boss. And like I started with that information. I realized that a negative attitude toward other, and I used a specific name, will never bring me success. Therefore, I will channel love toward them, right? Over and over and over. It's profoundly helpful. I mean, as a mental mind shift. It was a spiritual discipline, right? Okay, let's move on to biological. So physical, nutritional, sexual. Sexual is one of those things like, um, hard to talk about that. Are you from the Christian South, like where forms of repression and whatever? I'm not gonna. Can I edit that out? I don't know. But truly, we have, as a culture, not just in Christendom, but as a culture, we have struggled to understand, to think through, to be rational about sex, and to be really loving about the way we approach our sexual selves, right? These fundamental biological drives that shape so much of our experience. So when we think about it's vital that we think about them maturely within a safe context, right? So note about that. When people think of affirmations, they usually focus on how they can reshape their minds, form from an integral or integrated perspective. We want our affirmations to include every domain of life, especially our biology, our physical, nutritional, and sexual identities, right? So here's some examples, right? I am treating my body with care and love. I am my health, happy, whole body. I value whatever pain that comes as a clear message to attend, nurture, and heal my body. And by the way, healing is a reality that happens every day. Just FYI, just a friendly reminder. I know my body is healing because I am healing. I eat what I love, and I love what nurtures me. My food is medicine, and I am sexually vibrant, and my intimacy needs are met. And that can be, I'll just leave that there. And my body is powerful, flexible, and movement is joy. Now, obviously, make these really specific. Like if you're struggling in some specifically sexual dimension in marriage or whatever, you can really create an affirmation that digs down and really specifically targets how you want to shape your mental perception of that experience as an opportunity, or just injecting grace and love into it. Profound. Okay, let's move on to relational affirmations. And I will note again that this Harvard study that came out not so long ago was a longitudinal study. I mentioned this in the last module that, proved yet again, like the obviousness. It's like, we need a study to figure it out. It's like, did we really need a study to tell us again that the greatest predictor of longevity in life is the quality of our relationships? Beautiful. Of course, we've known that. It's like Jesus's teachings from 2000 plus years ago. It's like, so hey, I got an idea. Let's love your neighbor. It's just like everybody's like, yep. I actually, that makes a lot of sense. Like as a strategy for living. But it took a Harvard study. Okay, I finished my rant. Okay, so relational affirmations, family, friends, community, profession, well-formulated, specific affirmations that cover our most intimate relationships can truly be transformative to friends and family, our bosses, businesses, professional relationships, and especially our finances. In each relationship, we give and receive energetic and material resources. Consider thinking about which relationships are out of balance and creating affirmations around how you intend those relationships to change or grow. I love thinking about balancing. It's one of the primary mindsets, right? To think about balancing in each area of our lives. So, um, some examples of relational affirmations. This is right, the interior collective, lower left-hand corner. I know that negative thoughts toward others will never bring me success. I was referencing this in relationship to my last job, right? So I will think positive, loving thoughts toward all those in my life, including myself and my experiences. I know I am attracting all the forces I need to succeed, including the cooperation of other people. I cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I'm a highly paid in my profession in direct proportion to the outstanding services I provide. I am releasing resentment and comparison towards others and cultivating gratitude for everyone in my life. Some examples there from relational affirmations. Sweet. Well, you guys have been troopers. Okay. Deep breath. So that is the end of module 3. This has been such a gift to go through. I hope that you've gotten something out of this. Rewatch, share widely. Working with affirmations as a spiritual discipline is fundamental. And I love working one-on-one with clients doing this. So if you're struggling to remain accountable, I'm here to help. And life coaching is profound. One-on-one coaching is profound. And that investment, it's like each time that I invest in coaching, it's like the multiplier principle just flows over. It's because it's an investment in faith. It's like, oh my gosh. And you work. It's a profound thing, Things that are given to me for free, I don't really work for. But when I invest, it's like I work, I transform. And that's on offer for you too. You can scan the QR code. You can go to my website. You can book a call with me. First call is free too. And I always am putting out free content on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and building a community in sober church. And the life of sobriety is just beautiful. We can get sober from all sorts of things, even toxic mindsets and cycles of harm that are take the form of like codependency or forms of victimization, subtle things that we can be rid of and live a truly transformative and fulfilled life. Oh, all right. What a gift, guys. If you haven't heard it yet today, I love you. And I've gone ahead and included this map here too. So it gives you some concrete examples of the 80-20 rule and some ideas about where you can apply affirmations. So this has been a gift. Again, like and follow, DM me if you want to chat, and I am available. And it's been a joy. Bye-bye.